Chazal asers on Shabbos mekach memker. To sell and buy is an iser d'Rabbanan, and the reason brought a Masechtas Beis, why is it aser? Either we're learning now the siman, the simana bedaber dober, and b'mtzei cheftzachad is a iser mekach memker, or the iser is gzeira that you're going to come to write. Chazal extended the iser of mekach memker. Not only are you now allowed to sell and buy on Shabbos, but you also now allowed to do something that's going to bring you income. Schar Shabbos. To say you're not selling somebody the item. We'll go through a couple of examples before we even start the shiur, just to bring it out. But not that you're selling somebody something, it's yours. You're renting him the item. You're giving him the item, you're giving him a service, and you're getting money. That's Schar Shabbos. You're gaining money. You're gaining money on Shabbos is also aser. And it's aser atu mekach memker. Rashi brings it in that's what we're learning now, in Siman Shin Vav. Rashi brings it in Ksubas Samachtal Ramad Aleph, that the iser is the iser atu mekach memker. You're going to ask me, mekach memker is also only midrabanan. L'chayr it's a gzeira l'gzeira. The Torah says it's kula chad gzeira, meaning to say is they made one big gzeira. Of course, they made it atu mekach memker, but it's one big gzeira. You find it also l'gabi hegdish is also aser atu mekach memker. It's kula chad gzeira. Schar Shabbos, just to go through a couple of examples, then we'll try to see mutter aser that heirim. Schar Shabbos would be if, let's say, you rent out a room, a hotel room, an apartment. If you rent it out for Shabbos, that's Schar Shabbos. You're renting it to the person, it's yours. You're getting money for renting the apartment. You have money in the bank. The money's sitting in the bank, and for every day that it's in the bank, you get interest. That is Schar Shabbos. It's your money, you're letting somebody use your money, and for that you're getting interest. That is Schar Shabbos. We're going to go through to see, Beis Hashem, each item, even though it's Schar Shabbos to our heterim. Babysitting. You have a simcha, whether you go somewhere else, you're home, and you have somebody babysitting your children on Shabbos, and you want to pay the babysitter, that would be Schar Shabbos. A car rental. You have a car renting company, and you rent out the car. We'll soon see about the Schar Shabbos is aser, even for a guy. Even meaning to say is, the guy is benefiting from your service and he's giving you money. It's also aser. You're now allowed to take Schar Shabbos, even if it's from a guy. Another example, many mikvahs charge for using the mikvah on Shabbos. That also be'etzim is Schar Shabbos. You have a mikvah, you're letting somebody use your mikvah, and you charge. Mikvah is right, for Shabbos, there's a charge. Some mikvah is right, if you're from out of town, then you don't have to, but they charge. You have somebody that runs a pirchei, the benos leaders, you pay them. That would be Schar Shabbos. Sure. Many more examples we'll go through Beis Hashem as much as we can cover tonight. Beis Hashem. So the Isser is the Isser to take Schar Shabbos. You're now allowed to take the money. The Isser is also to give, but this is to take. Ad kedei kach, that is the Isser to take. The person doesn't even have, in Dinei Choshe Mishpat, and in Shiur Ba'as brings, you don't even have to give the money. And as we mentioned just before, the Isser is the Isser even from a goy. You're now allowed to take Schar Shabbos even from a goy. So we went through a lot of examples to bring out Schar Shabbos. We're not speaking about mekach memker b'chalal tonight. That's not our meduber. That's not what we're learning now. Mekach memker. Mekach memker is a separate idea. A person has his website open on Shabbos and it's selling. That's mekach memker. But we're not talking about selling anything. We're talking about You're providing a service, and by you providing a service, you're getting money. That's called Schar Shabbos. Schar Shabbos is Asam D'Rabbanan. However, there are heterim on Schar Shabbos. Heter number 1, the Shulchan Aruch brings it by us, Siman Shin Vav Siv Daled, Ubebir, how the Mishabur explains it. For example, you hire somebody to daven for the Amud Chazan on Shabbos, and you're paying him, it's Schar Shabbos. So the halach is it's mutter. The reason why it's mutter is because of mitzvah. That's the first heter. Mitzvah. For a dvar mitzvah, it's mutter. Oh, 1 second, we'll get it. Very good. The Noid Yehuda brings this heter lagabi a mikvah to charge on Shabbos, and he says because it's a dvar mitzvah. Al Kapam is talking about a mikvah's noshim, but as I talk to Noid Yehuda, Lamaisa, like you're saying, very good. It's Eini Roya Simon Bracha, means it's mutter, but at the end of the day, what do you gain by the person being a Chazan Shabbos? He's taking money. It's Eini Roya Simon Bracha. So that's Taka, Rav Vozan Taka says, that's why the Mashal the Noid Yehuda in the case by a mikvah brings another heter, and that's the heter we're going to see about Havlah, which we'll go into now. But Al Kapar, the first heter for Schar Shabbos is Ba'ofen Mitzvah. This is not the only example. These other cases, being a Baal Tekeya, being a Baal Koira, all these are heterim to take the money on Shabbos when you're not selling something. It's a Schar Shabbos. However, Ein Roya Simon Bracha. There's another heter of Avlah, which is maybe this is even really the first heter. If you rent out an apartment just for Shabbos and you take money for that, that's called Schar Shabbos. However, if you rent it out from Friday afternoon to Sunday for the weekend, and Memela, when you're charging, you're not only charging for Shabbos, you're charging also for the weekday. But it's mutter, you're taking money for Shabbos, but you're taking that money, it's b'havlah, with the money that you're charging for Friday, for Sunday, it's mutter. Agav, but this is very important to bring out. This havlah is not the pshat is. It's not a shtick that it's eichatim to how to take the money. L'mashal, you're not allowed to sell peiros shvius, and therefore mashmiti you're not allowed to sell the esrik shel shvius. You could sell the lulav, and with the lulav, give him along an esrik. But if you sell the lulav for $700 when it's usually sold for $150, and then agav you give him matana the esrik, that's not the right havlah. I'm not going into hilchas daled minim. Over there, the havlah means that when you're selling him the lulav, you also include the esrik. Here, the idea of havlah just means that you're not only giving money for Schar Shabbos, but often that you're also giving other money, even if it's a little bit. Meaning to say is, a daily rental is $400, and because you're coming from Friday afternoon to Matzah Shabbos, it's $450. So it's not the pshat is because I'm charging for Friday and Matzah Shabbos, and I'm sneaking in the Shabbos. The word is b'havlah, if there's also monies not from Shabbos, it's mutter.
Very
yeah. The word more is maybe some of the poskim say the reason is, what do you say? Why is it not nicker? It's l'chayr, ganz fine, nicker. Some of the poskim say the reason is because, I don't understand it fully, I wasn't going to say it, but once you, the gzeir is atu mekach hamemka that you're going to write, but if you're already doing it with shel choil, you're already going to write it b'choil. I'm not sure why we're not choishes, you'll write on Shabbos. But it's hard, what you're saying, Einoi Nicker, I'm not sure if I understand it. I'm not sure. If you have an extra, we're going to go into more Tziyurim also, but if the
It's one package. It's not Shabbos. It's a package deal for the weekend.
So it's not Nicker that it's Shabbos, I mean if...
That's the reason. There's other reasons. The reason not. They should look at the weekend.
There's another... So good. So this is all very good, but havlah, when you rent somebody an apartment, or you rent the guy a car for Shabbos, but he has an hour before Shabbos, so Mamela b'havlah, it's mutter. what would be, let's take the example of the mikveh. How could the mikveh charge on Shabbos? If you say mitzvah, but it's a neroya sima bracha, havlah, it's not the pshat as you're coming Friday and we're charging for Friday for Shabbos. If you go to the mikveh on Shabbos, just on Shabbos, they charge you for the mikveh. So what kind of, where's the havlah? Narvas, what'd say? Oh, very good. So Narvas is mavur in the poskim elf l'chash shleima. The other poskim say that these are havlah also for the expense. Like you said, the towel, and even the cleaning expense also. In other words, if you're not charging the whole $2 or $5, whatever they charge, just for the hishtamshis, in other words, it's not just schar Shabbos. It's also because it's costing me to operate the mikvah, have bills. It's heating the water, it's the towels, it's the cleaning. So when I'm charging the $5, part of the $5 is also haitzos. So memela, the schar Shabbos is mixed with the haitzos, memela it's butter. Klar.
I called the mikveh in Borough Park and asked him if he charges me. He got all insulted. He's like, what? Are you charging on Shabbos? The mikveh got all insulted. I heard he does. He all insulted. I'm like, saying that he charges officially on Shabbos.
So these men,
he didn't want to rely.
I hear. Lamaisa is like this. Many mikvahs clearly write that there's a price. Erev Shabbos, let's say, is $5, and then they write Shabbos is $2. They charge. So Dvar mitzvah, is it a mitzvah Shabbos morning? The Ikar Poskim was speaking about more the chayvas tefillah lanasha, but here it's havlah, it's mutter. Havlah, it's mutter. I don't think anyone argues. Lamaisa, these are havlah of the itzos.
Is the pshat you're charging just for itzos, or you're also itzos?
No.
Every business has it. That's a business. You buy and sell and make profit. Every business has to have expenses, which cost, and then make profit. If the head is going to be only itzos or also itzos?
So first of all, when you say every business has itzos, so the Emerson, they're really miskasha on this that we spoke about the hotel room, that these have law because you're an hour before. Really, even if you take it just for Shabbos, some places can say lahedya it's mutter, and the reason why it's mutter is because first of all, Rabbi Abba Shol has a whole tshuva about it. He says that first, if you go to a hotel that gives food, so versteht sich these itzos, you're paying for the food that you're allowed to pay, even the food that you get on Shabbos. But even not that, so they have to wash the linen, and the chanami. But when you're saying every business, the expense of what's going on Shabbos, of course, if you have a car rental, so I had to buy the car, but if it doesn't cost me anything when you rent it, that also could be the risk. If afterwards you have to clean the car, so that's weiter these itzos. But Luid said he's no itzos b'chlal, like the case in the Shulchan Aruch and Reish Mevav with the oven. You give the oven to a guy for Shabbos. Luid said he's no itzos. The oven is the way it is. Nothing changed. So b'chai gavna, it wouldn't be mutter unless you include also a little bit of a rental from before Shabbos.
Saying a worker and that's the like a mishmah is wrong. That's the
very good. That's the case in Shulchan Aruch. So taka the heter for somebody a shomer to pay a shomer. So it's only mutter. B'havlah, the hainu, if he's not only watching for Shabbos, he's watching for a few more days. The case of the Shulchan Aruch is for the week, which, by the way, it's very important to note. I think the Shiur spells it out clearly. Avada, if you're going to, let's say, give him the hotel room or a car rental, and it's a daily rate, so even if it's for the whole week, it doesn't help that you're giving it to him for the week. That's not havlah. If it's $700 for the week and it's $100 a day, it's aser. Because the $100 of Shabbos is schar Shabbos. It's only havlah. The pshat is if you give it to him from Friday afternoon till Sunday, it's $400 when usually it would have been $350. You give him a weekly rate of achveisvas and memela Shabbos is included. That's havlah. Again, lav dafka because we're tricking that when we're making believe like we're not charging for Shabbos, but it's muvla. As opposed to if you give somebody, even the shomer, you're paying him for the week. But the way you're paying him for the week is $100 a day. It's aser. That's how we began off with interest from a bank. We're going to get to it soon, Be'ez Hashem, trying to go organize. But there also, even if the bank gives you once a month the interest, but if they calculate per day, so the day of Shabbos is Schar Shabbos. I don't care if they give it to you in a check per month, they wire it into your bank account, but they're giving you per day. What'd say? Oh, we'll get to them. Good. That's another way to cheshbon. So what do we have so far? Just to be masuda, we spoke about for mitzvah it's mutter, but ein royasim a bracha. We also spoke about havlah, two types of havlah. Either havlah that you're not only charging for Shabbos, or if you're only charging for Shabbos, but al kaponim these other haitzahs. Let's just go to another example. A chazan. To pay a chazan, Yamim Naroim, you pay the Bali Tfilah Yamim Naroim. But Lamais it's ein royasim and bracha. So for this, these weiter eitz of avlah, to have him daven, let's say the first night slichas. So that's avlah. You're paying him for a package. Side of daven Rosh Hashanah Yom Kippur, but including of that also is to daven the first night of slichas. What'd say? So the emes is, I didn't see that anyone says that would be the heter. I'll tell you. The Meiser, I'm paying the Baal Tfilah to prepare. I'm not paying him to prepare. I'm paying him to daven. Grada, you want to daven well, you have to prepare. What'd say?
Can't lay. It's not a lane.
No, but
Not a lane without preparing.
so part of what you're paying for is what clarity. Also, let's have the what clarity.
Yes.
Oh.
So part of what you're paying for is
He has to prepare. I'm not paying. I'm paying you to prepare. Do prepare. Don't prepare. If you know how to daven, come and daven. Adar, if you find the Marmokim that says that would talk be more. So let's go weiter. Legabi Rosh Hashanah, so he could daven slichas. But Dr. Shlomo Zalman, to have him daven epis to come a week before and a daven epis a mincha, that's not called avlah, because you never pay somebody to stop daven a mincha. Something slichas is where it's shaykh. The same thing is negeya for Baal Tekeya. For Baal Tekeya also, to pay a Baal Tekeya. So you pay Baal Tekeya, ein royasim a bracha. So Elamai what? You're going to tell him to come one day before to blow? Unless you tell him to come, I want to pay you also to come. The Gans Elul. What? The Gans Elul. But for one day, no one pays a person to come for one day in Elul. But let's see maybe these other Eifane heter as well also. But interesting, if anybody has a Maramakim for that the practice is included, you're paying for the practice, Bali Koira is the same thing.
What does this shul do about Baal Tekeya?
You don't mean what we did. You want to know what we're going to do? Let's see, Taka, after the Shiur, we'll Taka see what's the Eifanim. Lamaisa, here's the thing like this. There's an Isser also for the Noisen to give Schar Shabbos. Here it's not applicable anymore because it's mutter. It's Shulchan Aruch, it's mutter, it's a Dvar Mitzvah. However, the one who's taking the money is Eidei Sima Bracha, so why is he doing it? So we could continue paying them. Lamaisa, Lagabe them, Taka, if Eidei Sima Bracha. Okay, I hope the Baal Koira, they're going to not going to come. We'll have to figure out for them also. No, but we're saying Luitzer, they come, but let's be mamshach. We'll see, could be these more Eifane heta that'll be applicable to this as well. Going right back into Havlah, we spoke about Havlah. We saw two types of Havlah. One Havlah is you include also the day before. And then there's another type of Havlah, but often where these Hoitzois. So we mentioned the case of interest. You have money in the bank. You're not allowed to take money, Hoitzor Shabbos, even from a goy. So you have money in the bank. Now the interest rates are up, and it's more than 1 penny a year. So the izepis that's coming in over here on Shabbos. So what's the heter? Lamaisa, it's Schar Shabbos. It's Klor Schar Shabbos. Zoktra Moshe Natshuva, that it's mutter. Why? Because the way how the banks calculate, they pay per day, but the way they calculate is from midnight to midnight. So Memela what? So Memela, let's say it starts from Friday night midnight to Motzei Shabbos midnight. So come to Chos is already sometime after Shabbos also that they're giving you interest. So that's Havlah. It's Havlah. It's not just Shabbos, it's also after Shabbos. Oh, very good, very good. Shabbos Yom Tov Taka. Dr. Moshe would be a problem. Shabbos and Yom Tov. We're going to leave out for now 2 days Yom Tov, but let's go regular Shabbos and Yom Tov. Either Friday is Yom Tov and Shabbos, or Shabbos and Sunday. Both can happen. So come to Chos, there's definitely a 24-hour period from midnight to midnight that's either just Shabbos or Yom Tov, which Dr. Moshe Taka would be Aser, and that little bit you should make a cheshbon. He says you should give it to tzedakah. However, there's another tshuvas Rabbi Moshe that Rabbi Moshe says that could be. It's a tshuva. I'm saying over the Rosh HaPrakam, but he says that it could be even when it's 2 days it's mutter, and he says like this: the bank will never take your money for 1 day. If you tell them you want to put it in for 1 day, they're not going to take it. They take it even if you don't put it in a CD, but when you give it, they're taking it long term. Hayos, it's long term, it's like for the week, for the month, for the year, which Dr. Shulchan Aruch, it's mutter. And then he tells too the same ideas also. Someone owns a nursing home. So how does he charge? The same thing as like a hotel, but here at Mamash tells the Chais, it's per night, per bed, per patient. The state, the government gives money. So it's also, what's the heter? What's the heter? It's Schar Shabbos. It's close Schar Shabbos. So Dr. Moshe, if you have a patient just for 1 night, that's not where they pay. It's only when the patient's there for a while. So that's right. That's Havlah.
Calculate per day is the problem.
Oh, Lamaisa, in the tshuva himself, at least he's bothered by the bank. But the nursing home, he says that, I didn't understand clearly, but it's about by the bank, he's miskashi. He says, it's true the bank's not going to take your money just for 1 day. That let's say even minimum 3 months. But Lamaisa, once they take it, they calculate it per day. Like Vitaka says, very good. Even when the Shulchan Aruch says that you could do it per week, it's only if there's a weekly rate. But if Luyitzer it's per week, and every day you get paid per day, that's Vaita Schar Shabbos.
You get interest every day?
It doesn't make a difference when they give it to you. What is it?
But if you take it out, let's say middle of the month, they would still give you this.
I don't know. I don't know how the banks work. I don't know. But even if they do it, they don't. Lamaisa, at the end of the day, if you have it there for a month, and when they gave it to you for the month, they gave you $5 because they calculated per day. So it means they're giving you clearly per the day of Shabbos also.
But Moshe speaks out that if the case that it was, could they not give it long term?
If what'd say?
Meaning there is a heter that if it's per day, but it has to be for the week. But Allah seems to say that even though it's per day, but it's the Beis could not be chayzer now. $100 per day, but it's got to be a week. That might be that's in the fall heter. I mean, it seems like he's making all that. So, I mean, if you need the whole time,
if you have to keep it in. So he's saying, let's say if he's.
a nurse will maybe no one's taking a patient for 1 day. Could be that example. Maybe that's in the law. It's really, things will take 1 day. But you couldn't actually do it. I don't think we're thinking that.
You're saying, Louis, let's say if a person puts in the money in a CD that it's clearly stuck there for a while, then you'll be able to rely on that heter. It's interesting, the Minchas Yitzchak brings this with the bank, and then he's the ribbis, the interest, and then he says, in Tassant, he starts off the tshuva, he says, but if you use this money, let's say to marry off your kids, then it's a dvar mitzvah, then it's mutter. The other hat. Let's move along now. A couple of more heterim. This heter, you have to really know how to use the heter. But the heter the Marshag brings Shlomo Zalman works with the heter. It's not clear, but Al Kapanim, the heter is if it's prepaid. Hayois, at least in certain cases, when you prepay something, even if you don't end up using it, taking it, showing up, you lose the money in Hilchas Choshe Mishpat. So come to Chos, it's not Schar Shabbos. I got the money ready before. You rent the apartment only on Shabbos, and there's no other itzois, there's no avlos, nothing. I got the money ready. Even if you don't show up, you're not getting back the money. So I already was marviach before Shabbos. Tan l'chacham v'yosef lekach, you have to be ma'ayim more. This would be mamash simple like anything. Anytime, any shayl of anything schar Shabbos if you prepay. But al kaponim, that's the marshaga heter. Another heter the Mishnah Brura brings, which is not always so easy to use, is if you don't make up the amount before. But we'll soon see if you don't make up the amount before. Be'etzem, it is negeya. L'mashal, a moil doesn't charge. L'maisa, people give money for the milah, but there's no money made up before. If you don't make up a price before, there's a price that the people say what the price is, what people give. But if a person doesn't give that price, you're going to tell them that's not the price. But klar, there's a heter ba'oifen, zok Mishnah Brura ba'oifen that you didn't make up before. It's negeya shtickle ba'alei tekeya sometimes also. Sometimes ba'alei tekeya below, because it's a schus to blow. And l'maisa afterwards they get a check for being a ba'al tekeya. So that also does not go into schar Shabbos. It's not always practical, because if somebody's doing a job, we'll go into some other hechatimtzes, it's not so practical not to make up before. But sometimes you're doing it because you're doing it. And l'maisa, you get money for it also. I want to conclude very bekitzer.
I didn't pay the money, even though it was on Shabbos. Even though we put it.
If you haven't tried to call anybody.
What do you think I mentioned it over here now? Chas v'shalom, it's a schos, be'emesin. The next heichatemtza, the next heter is, let's say, a roife or a doula, which is very negeya, to help out a midwife, a labor coach, midwife. You call them on Shabbos to come, and they come. So what? So that's all. That be'etzem also would be schar Shabbos. So there is a heter of pekuach nefesh. To side heter could be even just like it's pekuach nefesh is doiche Shabbos. Of course, it's doiche also schar Shabbos. But al kapanim it's mutter. For a doctor also, in Orchis Rabbeinu they bring that the disciples said, "Lahed, you have to make sure to pay." I just want to conclude be'ikr with one case. A babysitter on Shabbos. I think that's like a big one. And l'maisa that's schar Shabbos. So how do you give a chanetza? What's the heter? A pipashis, it's not a mitzvah. I mean, what's the heter? So l'chayr is like this: if this is a babysitter that you call her to come Friday or Matzah Shabbos or Tuesday, but not that you pay per hour, because if you're going to call her to come Thursday and she was 2 hours Thursday and 8 hours Shabbos, and then you're paying her per hour, so you didn't gain anything. But let's say you tell us, I need your help. Come Shabbos for a few hours, come Thursday for half hour, and I'm paying you that amount, kach v'kach, that would be mutter. That's havla. I saw someone bring the same like we saw about the hoitzois. If she buys arts and crafts or snacks or candy or nash, that would also be the Heintige brings such a tzad that lamaisa. That's also the havla. You have to reimburse her for that. That once you're giving her the hoitzois, you give her all the money. And lastly, and with this I'm going to conclude. Lastly, in another oifen shal heter, the Be'er Moshe, the Debetzina Rav brings, and others also. Basically, there's also a heter, which is if you give the person a matana, avada, if you ask somebody to do a service for you on Shabbos, and he charges $50 and you give him $50 of matana, that's a joke. That's paying schar Shabbos. However, if you have a babysitter, you call the babysitter. Be'etzem, the going rate, it's very interesting, and in the Tshuva he writes the going rate is $1 an hour. Let's say whatever the going rate, the marshal now is $10 an hour, and you call the babysitter for 5 hours, and you add on money. So not the pshat is that you're adding on money, so these havlah with other money. When you add on money, so come to chayis. Now instead of the $50, you give him, let's say, $60. So it's begeder matana and it's mutter.
It's a law.
Let me just read the lashon. I thought so also that you're also giving a matana. I thought the same also, that you're paying. Besides what you're paying, you're also adding on a matana. That would make things like simple always. You hire, whatever you're doing schar Shabbos, you add on a few dollars. It seems like the whole thing becomes matana. Small. Yesh mokum lahater b'matana v'darki loim. He says, if let's say it's $1 an hour, and she's watching, babysitter's watching for 3 hours, so he says, yitain $3.30 and 3 dimes, b'toyros matana. So what does he mean? He means just the extras of matana, it's avlo, or just means that now the whole thing is a matana. But al kaponim, that would be an oifen of heter. So just to be Messiah and be Mesakim, these many cases, we didn't get to a lot of cases also, but the ikr heterim are havlah, the 2 types of havlah. We saw matana, we saw sometimes if you prepay could be a heter, but these are all heterim in when the chachamim asered to schar Shabbos b'chai gavna. These examples will be mutter.